name is William Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach. I want to welcome you to Shortcuts for Your Soul Friday edition. And today it's time to take a breather from all of these ascension energies that have been coming in. We get a bit of a break now for a few days, and we can breathe, relax, and integrate. This is the time they're saying it is now. When there's these periods of intense incoming energies, it's important to be really centered and grounded. When we got breather times like this, where there's very little activity of energies pouring into the system, to take a breather, relax, really hone your skills as a meditator. And we do that every Saturday on Supernatural Saturday. But today I want to go over some of the fundamentals that they keep telling me that has to be reinforced. There is a distinction. There's a big distinction between you, your thoughts, your emotions, and your body. It is very important that you learn to make those distinctions between your thoughts, your emotions, and your body. Only you can make that distinction as an awareness. That distinction cannot be made for you, although we can offer you the information that that distinction exists. You yourself must make the distinction internally for that to become a practical and functional perspective of perception from which you can begin to originate changes in your world. Not simply the world of your own thoughts, the world of your own emotions, and the world of your own body, but in the world of the human collective consciousness. But without that distinction between yourself as the soul awareness, the one that can begin to actually make changes in your thoughts, changes in your emotions, changes in your biology from that perspective, until you have that awareness, it is very difficult to affect change from within the confines of your established perceptions of this world, gleaned from your own personal experience through those 5 physical senses. You are a soul, a sentient consciousness, living in a physical medium for a temporary period of time. Your mechanisms for creating or designing and developing your creative expression and the conditions that are most conducive to it are through the rearticulation and the deliberate utilization of thought, emotion, and biology. These 3 elements of thought, emotion, and biology are interdependent with each other, and yet you can function independent of all 3, which puts you in the position of being able to deliberately change the conditions of your material world, both as an individual and as a collective. As an individual, your awareness is distinct from your thoughts. And if you begin to recognize that you can be aware there are certain thoughts that are good and certain thoughts that are bad in your consciousness, that nature of you that is doing that, observing that there are thoughts, that is the you that can originate changes in the conditions and nature and quality of those thoughts. Your thoughts cannot alter and change themselves, for they are just information that you have acquired into that form. Only you as the awareness can begin to make the deliberate distinction between one thought or another thought, one that is good to keep, one is better to release. Only you as the awareness can do this. The moment you move your consciousness into the perspective of observation of thought, you move into the realm of free will. It is only from the perspective of awareness that you have and can utilize your nature as free will, as an individual consciousness working through this thought and material medium. From the perspective of awareness, you can observe that thoughts can be acquired and thoughts can be released. If you do not understand that you can release thoughts as easily as you can hold on to thoughts, then you will be at the mercy of whatever thoughts you have going on in your mind, feeling as if you have absolutely no control over your ability to deliberately articulate the necessary changes that you actually know that you require. Many of you need to understand that you, as awareness, are solely responsible for altering and changing your thoughts and your emotions. You may defer that responsibility to external sources such as a mentor or a teacher or a pill or a drug or a substance, to use them as an artificial means of being able to deny your responsibility to have any control over your own mind at all, in which case you better hope that those that you would turn to are going to afford you thoughts, ideas, and substances that are going to elevate your well-being and not diminish it. Again, that perspective of awareness is the only position you can take where you can begin to articulate changes. It is only from this perspective of awareness that you can begin to even direct your mind to be still. As awareness, you can literally let your thoughts go and be in this moment. You can let your thoughts go and be in this moment. You can let your emotions go and be in this moment. Only from the perspective of self-awareness can you have the choice to do so. If you're in the sandbox of thought and emotion, then you are in the sandbox of thought and emotion, and there's no way out of that sandbox as long as you remain in it. So many of you indulge in certain thoughts, certain emotions, and choose to stay within them, forgetting, unfortunately, by that process that you are the one that is actually creating the sandbox and can change the sandbox and what happens within it. The level of difficulty involved in learning to articulate changes in thoughts and emotions is wholly dependent upon your ability to recognize that emotions are not who you are. They're simply a component element of energy that allows you to articulate the physical form into certain actions. Emotions articulate physical matter into specific functions of action, and thought structures the nature and quality of those emotions so that they become a specific structure in matter. We hope that you understand this. The process of meditation is being able to make that distinction, to release thought, to release emotion, to release your attachment to that body so that you can restore yourself to the awareness that you are, placing yourself in a position where you may deliberately and intentionally select and choose the thoughts and therefore the quality of emotions and the nature of the expression that comes through the body in the form of those emotions. For all actions that come through your body come through the form of emotional energy that articulates matter into movement. Your emotions articulate matter into movement. And your thoughts organize the quality of that emotion, thereby causing specific qualities of action. A person who has angry thoughts that generates an angry emotion will have an angry expression. Those who have beautiful, kind, gentle thoughts will cultivate beautiful, kind, and gentle emotions, and their actions will be gentle and kind and respectful. It is really very simple from our perspective to understand this. It will get simpler from your perspective when you begin to make that distinction between the awareness that you are, the thoughts that you have, and the emotions that are contained in this body, structured by those thoughts, which causes your body to express. And so when we say to take a breather and meditate, we're seriously encouraging you to stop, to cultivate that level of awareness, to look at the noisy thoughts and the noisy emotions and realize, that is not who I am. These are the elements that are inside the system that I am using while I'm here, and I can begin to now make corrections that this thought does not serve my peace. This thought does. This thought does not support my joy. This one does. You come to an awareness that you are able to choose your thoughts, to consider them deliberately and intelligently and mindfully, knowing that very specific thoughts generate very specific energies that you call emotions that cause very specific actions in the articulation of your material medium or your body. And so we say to you, when you choose to engage yourself in this process of meditation, you do not necessarily have to perfect your body as one in the teachings of what you call yoga would. You can simply begin a process of sitting your body down, even in a chair, or even lying it down. Remember, you are directing matter, not subjective to it. In the process of meditation, you learn to direct matter, not to be subjective to it. And so you find yourself in that chair or on that couch, or if you are such that you can sit in a lotus, you may do so too. But in that position, you are deliberately giving your awareness permission to not be engaged in thought, where you recognize the thought is not who I am aware of the thought. You begin to disengage your awareness from thought. You begin to disengage your awareness from thought. And in that, you also begin to disengage yourself from the energy of those thoughts. So if you have a thought that is a negative thought, it has a negative construct of emotion connected to it. And when you liberate yourself from that thought, you begin to liberate yourself from the corresponding emotion that is connected to that thought. And as you liberate yourself from the thought, you as awareness begin to experience your being differently than you do when you are in the constructs of thoughts and emotions. And that disengagement from thought and emotion, that disengagement from thought and emotion begins to liberate you. And in that place of liberation where you realize, I do not have to be in this thought, I do not have to be in this emotion, especially when you are articulating this process deliberately for yourself, you do not require a pill or a drug or a drink or a food to change your thought. You realize that you can step out of your thought. And your thoughts, of course, will try to pull you back into them because you are so attached to them. You do not realize that you have put them on you. As you step out of them more frequently, and you realize, I am not this thought, I am not this emotion, I am not this thought, I am not this emotion. That is not who I am. I am the observer of these things from the perspective of that moment of observation where you realize, I observe these thoughts, I observe these emotions. They are not who I am. From that perspective, you can begin the process of what thought will I choose to think that would be one that would construct energy that would make my body feel good. You come to that place of awareness where you begin to construct thought deliberately that makes your body feel good. You begin to create these new constructs that generate corresponding emotions that alter and change the expression of your being through matter and your experience as a being of matter. But that distinction must first be made between yourself as the awareness and yourself as the body and yourself as the thoughts and yourself as the emotions. There are different aspects that you utilize, but you as awareness, in that place of conscious awareness, you realize I'm not these thoughts. You move into the realm of free will and free choice. And for many of you, your thoughts are not even your own. For many of you, your thoughts are simply a package that was given to you from the moment that body was born. You were given a package of thoughts, a pretty little package of an identity that says, this is who you are to be. And many of you believe that you are the package, not the one that is carrying the package. That you may even take the package and open it up, look at what's inside and change what's in the package, or even put something new in the package. And this can only be done from the perspective of free will, where you are actually deliberately changing by choice your thoughts, which in turn deliberately and articulately changes qualities of emotion that allow you to express very differently than you may currently be expressing now. So we take a breather and begin this process of meditation, of that process, that starting point of making the distinction between yourself as the awareness of thought, yourself as the one that observes emotion, yourself as that which observes how the body is behaving, moving yourself into the position of free will and free choice. Because when you are in the personality, when you are in the thoughts, your will, your being is then in them. You become them. And if you become them, you do not know what you are outside of them. You believe that you are that emotion. You believe you are that thought. You believe you are that body. And that is a very limiting perspective at this time in your evolution as a species, when you're fully capable of articulating incredible and profound changes in the existing conditions of your global society, which we might add is very, very limited in its capabilities. Although you may be able to build rocket ships and fly into space, it is still very limited relative to what we understand is possible for you. But you cannot step outside the limits of what you know. If you are inside the limits of what you know, you simply create variations of those limits, and you might call a variation of that limit less restricting than the limit before, but you are still within the structure of those limits. To truly begin to articulate a significant transformation in your global civilization, this awakening must be engaged and deliberately. It must be shared, it must be taught, it must be encouraged that your thoughts and your emotions are not your true nature, that your awareness is somewhat your true nature, but that for you would be enough to begin to articulate massive changes throughout your global civilization. That simple distinction between your awareness as the observer of thought, your awareness as the observer of emotion, your awareness as the observer of the medium of expression of what that body does in relationship to certain qualities of thoughts and emotions. Thought structures the quality of an emotion. Emotion structures the quality of physical expression. And when you come to that place where you awaken to, I can choose these thoughts. I can release these thoughts. I can create new thoughts. The moment you move into that realm of free will, you begin to move into the realm of deliberate creation, of intentional manifestation, of being able to transcend your existing conditions of time, space, and matter as you perceive them to be within the confines of them. But from within the confines of them, you're highly restricted from what is available outside of that place. Much as one of your great thinkers, or what you call a great thinker, said that your problems cannot be solved in the level that they exist at. In other words, if you are in the sandbox, you cannot change the sandbox. You have to be outside of the sandbox to change it. Only through the perspective of your awareness can you do this. Only from the perspective of your awareness can you begin that process of re-articulating thought, re-articulating emotional energy, re-articulating the manifestations that come forth from the qualities of emotions that your thoughts have articulated in your collective unconsciousness right now. And so we say very simply to you, take a breather and begin that process of saying, this thought does not serve me. This thought does. This emotion of this new thought will serve me. You begin a process of re-articulating the qualities of energy that you work with. But until you make that distinction between your awareness and your thoughts, it is very difficult. But it is the most important, significant step that any one of you can begin to make on the pathway to liberation from your suffering. That distinction between your thought and your awareness and your emotions. From that perspective of awareness is where you begin to make change. From that perspective of awareness, meditation begins. From that perspective where you are just aware, you are not distracted by your thoughts or your emotions. You are in awareness, free to observe thought and emotion, to not be pulled into them, to be pulled into your memories, to be pulled into your memories in the present, to be pulled into a future that does not yet exist. But you can move into the realm of creation where you can create a future that is far greater than any past could ever possibly create for you. It is only in this realm of creation in the moment that you can begin to articulate long-lasting, even lifetimes of change. Whereas from the paradigm of what you believe you think yourself to be at this moment and what you emote yourself to be at this moment and what your body defines you as being at this moment, you can make very limited changes. And they are simply changes based on what you already know. We encourage you then, this process of meditation, learning to make that distinction, take this first step as awareness. Recognize your thoughts are just information. They are not your being. Your thoughts are not your being. You are your being. Your emotions are not your being. They're energy that reflects the construct of thoughts that you have stored in that, what you call your mind, which is a non-physical database. Some of you call it the Akashic record, where all acquired knowledge exists. Please understand, in your liberation of awareness from thought, awareness from emotion, awareness from body, you now become the director. You now become the director of matter, no longer subjective to it. And that process of freedom begins to offer you a new world, even individually, a new world even collectively, but not from the perspective of what you are currently utilizing as a means and a mechanism for your expression. What you call your divine nature, your higher self, is found first by releasing yourself from that which you are not. The awareness that you are is the first step. Those thoughts that you have, most of which are not even yours, and those emotions you have are simply constructs of those thoughts, most of which aren't even yours. And so when you find yourself feeling a way that you do not like to feel, please understand that is because you did not choose it. It was given to you to accept or believe. It was given to you to believe that, and you accepted it. But you can easily let go of that gift. You can easily say, I do not wish to have that thought or that emotion. And you must learn that distinction. When you learn that distinction between your awareness and your thoughts, your awareness and your emotion, that simple distinction will give you a sensation of freedom that will be quite delicious and delightful. And it will make your life lighter and more playful, because then you are free to choose to use your will as you would choose to use your will, and not as you've been trained to believe you have to will. Let us go to some questions on this. We find that your timing is perfect if you are willing to hear a little of what we've said, that you as awareness are not those thoughts. You as awareness are not those emotions. You as awareness is not that body. When you come to that understanding, your will becomes free to choose, to accept, to release what serves you and what does not serve you. Wow. Thank you, guys. Really, 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 really appreciate that. Thank you so, so much. Question from SJK. My friend Wade died. We hadn't spoken for years due to a conflict. Please tell him I love him. It's done. It was always known. Yeah. They're saying it's important you understand that you would be so much closer to one another if you understood the difference between who you are and who you are not. To simply believe that you are one finite personality is extremely limiting. To believe that you are just one finite personality is extremely limiting in terms of how you will relate to and how you will not relate to others. And so you find yourself in conflict, not because you want to be in conflict or in separation, but because you find yourself in a belief, in a thought, in an emotion that's extremely limiting relative to who you are. And then that limit gets expressed as your experience. But this one, there is no more and never was any ill will in truth. Only from the perspective and the limits of your individualized thoughts and emotions did there have limits. From that perspective, it's so important you understand this, that only your thoughts and emotions can limit your experiences in this world and your creations in this world. Only the thoughts and emotions that you hold on to can limit your experiences in this world. If you surrender that limit that you hold in your mind about this one, if you let go that there was never the relationship lost, that the closeness that was there exists there even greater so now, you'll feel great relief. Let that thought go. There was no loss. The love, the depth is greater still. Wow, thank you so much. We are at a wonderful time in our collective experience as a species, and I want to just say, for all of us, we have such a great opportunity to liberate ourselves from our suffering. Like, as individuals, as a collective, listen to what they're saying. Listen to what they're saying. You as an awareness are free of thought. You're free of emotion. You can become the creator of thought, the creator of emotion from the perspective of awareness. Somebody's telling me it will take practice for some of you to realize those thoughts are not who you are. Those emotions are not who you are. They say many of us carry our burdens from the past as if they still existed now. You have to stop that. Question from Lynette. A message from my guide, and what was the squirrel telling me? Get ready. It is get ready. Time to be mindful of your space and what you have and what you do not have. Be mindful of your space and what you have and what you do not have. Your survival, your life depends on how you articulate these things. Yes. Well, Question from Jennifer. Any message from my angelic guides have for me this day? Would love to hear. They're saying stop being so serious. I don't know why they're saying watch a stand-up comic that you like. Watch something funny. Watch something funny. Yeah, something about this. The drink you're supposed to drink too. Something about tall and green. Drink something tall and green. Yeah, cool. Pendulum. You can also use the pendulum really well, Jenny. The pendulum is a really good tool for you to use. Use the pendulum. Thank you so much. Question from Ariella. Feeling pressure in my life, about to lose my job. Is there a message from my guides? Yes. You must understand that the pressure that you're feeling is not coming from your job. The pressure that you're feeling is coming from within you. Yeah. It is important that you cultivate an awareness of what you want, not the focal you keep giving to what you do not want. Give focus to what you really want. Yeah. I got Archangel Azrael is like coming in really strongly and saying like, you need to lighten up. You need to really lighten up. Lighten up. Align yourself to your joy. Like, yeah. Like she's like really like bright light, like lighten up. Like really lighten yourself up. Get really into joy. She's saying into joy. Like really get into joy today. Bring your awareness into joy. Yeah, like you can really articulate that in your thoughts and get away from all the drama in your mind right now. Pull your attention away from the drama in your mind. She keeps saying that. She really needs to lighten up. Yeah, thank you, Archangel Azrael. Lighten up. Lighten up. You know, there's so many trying to get us into drama thinking because it serves them. Get out of it. You must learn who you are. We all have to do this. Great. Thank you so much, Ariella. Yes. Thank you so much. Got that. Question from Lynette. A message from my guide and what was, oh yeah, we got that already, Lynette. Vertical's asking, I had the feeling of falling into empty space for a moment in my head and experienced this other times as well while walking. Was this a thinning of the veil? Yes, it is. Not only is it a thinning of the veil, you can use the memory of that moment when you go and meditate next. And go to the memory of the moment and be in the memory of the moment and keep all of your attention on that. Yes, something else, your guardian angel is saying something else will come, Frida. Something else will come to you from that moment in that place of meditation. When you get a chance to sit down, use the memory of the moment to access the energy of it. Yes, you're going to experience something very different. The guardian angel that's communicating with me now is called Frida. Yeah. But yeah, use the memory of the moment to go back into that dimension. That's really cool. Thank you. Yeah. Question from Michelle. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be feeling this. Remember, the ascension process is about literally getting differentiated, breaking free of the limiting personalities we have. Literally, the personalities that we've acquired from this world are very limited in their scope and expression. And so more of you are going to be experiencing that, like that floaty feeling, not because there's something wrong with your biology, but because as an awareness, you're trying to break free of the gravity of your personality and the limits that it has. The ascension is about being free to create, to interact with beings, levels of knowledge and wisdom that aren't available on this physical plane of consciousness. So when those moments happen, stop, sit down, go into it, feel it, feel the freedom in that moment. Your ego is terrified of freedom. Your ego, your mind is terrified of freedom because it likes its familiar suffering. Our egos and our minds like familiar suffering. And that moment where you have that, it scares the mind and body. But if you pay attention to it in that moment where you felt like you were floating or falling or in an empty blackness, there's a feeling of freedom. You're free from your thoughts. You're free from your emotions. Now, like I said, take a breather, meditate, differentiate between yourself as awareness from your thoughts, your emotions, your body. They are instruments that you use. Learn to play the instrument properly instead of being subjective to it. They tell me that all the time, William, do not let your thoughts interfere with you. Do not let your emotions interfere with you. Do not let your body interfere with you. Learn to run them. Don't let them run you. They tell me that all the time. We are meant to run thought, emotion, and matter, not meant to be subjective to them. Yeah, wonderful. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for coming out today. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for, hi Daniela. Yeah, there's going to be a lot more of that happening. So take a breather. The ascension energies that were bombarding us for about a week and a half have abated now. Now is time for a process of integration and rearticulation, reconsolidating your position into that point of awareness where you have the opportunity to originate changes in the structure of your thoughts, emotions, and biology. From that perspective of awareness, you can make these changes. If you're not in that perspective of awareness, you cannot. You cannot make changes when you are in thought. You can make changes when you are out of thought. Wow, thank you so much. I want to wish everybody a joyful day. Dion is asking if her higher self has got a message for me. Thank you. You just heard it. You have just heard it. Dion, get out of your thought. Get out of your emotion. Learn to be free. Reawaken your free will. Awaken your free will so that you can begin to recreate your world in a very new, wonderful, and dynamic way. I want to say thank you, everybody. Much love. Join me tomorrow at 10 a.m. on Supernatural Saturday for the weekly meditation. I'm really excited about it. I hope you'll join me there at 10 a.m. on my channel. Much love, everybody. Bye for now.